Alright, so back with another installment of Woodworking with me. Like I said in the last video, which was my first video, my name's Ethan. Today I've decided that I'm going to make a drill press table and fence. I have some scrap wood here in my little garage. Basically what I have a, this right here is just a 15 by 33.5 inch scrap piece of 3/4 inch subflooring, CDX plywood, and then I have this little thin piece of paneling. It's not the best. You see, it's got some imperfections and all, but it is pretty smooth for what I'm going to need. So I'm going to use this to laminate on top of that piece. As I go through the process, I will explain what it is I'm doing, kind of the sizes on things. The hardware total for this cost me about $20. So with some scrap wood and $20, you can make yourself a drill press table and fence. And the size that I'm going to make this, it's going to be 10 inches out from the drill press, and it'll be a total of 16 inches wide. The hardware that I bought for it, I got about these. This is a 1.5 inch long by 3/8 inch in diameter, just hex bolt. And of course I got the 3/8 inch nut and washer as well. I bought a set of these T-bolts for the toilet, like that. And then I got these plastic star knobs here. I got 2 of these. And yeah, that's pretty much all the hardware that you need to do this. This is my drill press. Nothing special. It's a 5-speed drill press. This is what I will be bolting the top to right here. Alright, so the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure you have a square section to work with. So what we want to do, we want to mark out, of course, the measurements of what we're doing. So use my tape measure here. We're going to mark this way out. Like I said, it's going to be 16 inches long, or wide actually. 16 inches wide, which is right there. And I said it's going to end up being 10 inches out. Fall down, extend it right to where that is. This excess that you see right here and the excess over here, I can use all that to make the fence. Alright, so I couldn't safely put this through my table saw because, as you could see, it is just about as big as the table saw width itself, and it's actually longer than my table saw top, and I don't have a sled to put it in to slide it across to do this. So I'm going to use a jigsaw. I'm going to cut across here, not exactly at the line that I need, and then I will be able to put it through the table saw safely and not lose any fingers and all that. Now I'm going to take this across the table saw. I'll cut this piece off, and then I'll clean this side up, and then we'll get to putting the dados in. My table saw is really loud, so I always use hearing protection, and of course got eye protection. That'll be the bottom part that'll sit over on my my drill press here. Still have 4 bolts in there, and we'll have a fence across the back of it. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut 1/2 inch dados, 1 1/4 inch from each side, so 1/2 inch all the way down on both sides. And then I will laminate the other piece on top of it, and this bolt is 1/4 inch in diameter, including the threads. So I will make it just a hair bigger than 1/4 inch. Alright, so what I've done, I've marked these on both sides, 1 1/4 inch from there. I'm going to take 1/8 inch in right here, and that's where the bolt is going to sit. Have the laminate on top of that with the dado in that one, and the bolt right here, this T-bolt, will fit right in there, and it'll slide right along, and it'll hook underneath. And I'm not making this dado as wide as this this long part, I'm making it just a little bit wider than this is wide. Because if I make it as wide as that, then this thing can potentially just spin down underneath, and it'll be hard to tighten it up. This way, with these dados only being slightly wider than it is this way across, it will lock onto the sides when I'm turning the knob. So that way it'll hook on it, and I won't have to worry about whether it's spinning down underneath here or not. And I want to mention right here on the end of this board where these dados are going to be, since this is going to be facing down on your table saw, you want to extend these lines over the ends so you can see, because this is going to be facing down, you won't be able to see those lines. You don't absolutely have to do this in this situation, because I have this fence set exactly 1 1/4 inch from the edge of the blade here. So I'll make the initial cut on both sides. What it's going to do, it'll give me that edge piece. Then I can take this away, or I can move it a 1/2 inch over and do the other one, and then I can clean up the center of it. Alright, so on the table saw, I got these dados taken out. You know, they're not exactly perfect. They don't really need to be. You're not going to see them. As long as the head of those T-bolts can slide through there safely, you know, and not get hung up, then it's fine. I'm going to take this chisel, this little 1/4 inch chisel, and I'm going to just kind of take off these little tiny pieces that are sticking up here. And you can take some sandpaper if you really want, and you can clean it up and make it all smooth. But like I said, you're not going to see it. It's not anything that needs to be real pretty. So now what I need to do, I need to take my piece of 1/8 inch paneling, and I can laminate it on here, and then I will cut another dado down the center of these. That is just a little bit bigger than a 1/4 inch, which is the thickness of this bolt with the threads. And you see that bolt will just slide down through there, and that'll be able to go through. My fence will be on here, and I'll be able to tighten it down on my fence. Alright, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put glue. What I'm going to use is just Gorilla wood glue. I'm going to layer it across here. I don't want to get into these gaps or too close to those gaps, but I'm going to put it pretty well in there. I'm going to use an old brush. This one had some old paint and things like that, but just so I can spread this glue around. Try to get this as flush as possible on here. This is going to be the first part of the fence. This is actually 2 1/4 from the tip of the blade, this leading edge over on this side. And then I'll be able to cut the second piece off without measuring and without moving it. I've just decided I'm going to drill a 1/4 inch hole on either side of this. And they're going to have to be 1 1/4 inch from the end of the board, because that's where our dados are on the tabletop for our drill press. Here's a tip for when you're drilling out on like a drill press, or really anything, and you're drilling through the bottom of it. Sometimes you get tear out on the bottom pieces here, and especially on a drill press, an easy way to avoid that is to take a scrap piece of anything really, and just put it up underneath this piece. When you have on the drill press, drill down through it, and then the tear out will be on this little scrap piece here rather than on this piece. Alright, so if you were wondering why I put these across the top of my piece that I laminated before I clamped it, if you can, I think you can see it right there. These little round markings here, that's from the clamps. That's why, because you don't want to mar up, you know, the good surface on whatever piece it is you're working on. This is what it is. It's oversized. I have to cut all this down to be just one piece, and then we'll make the dados on here. Alright, so I got the fence on, and see, I got it made here. I got the dados. It's not pretty, especially up here, but I doubt I'm going to be using this part. This is the first time I've ever tried anything like this. So, you know, trial and error. You can move this back and forth, of course. Tighten it down, and it does tighten down. It does work. Just like that. And it's not going to go anywhere. Basically what I have to do now is I have to drill the 4 holes that will mount it onto my drill press. I'm going to take this, I'll set it up on here the way it's going to end up being, and then I'll kind of make pencil marks underneath that'll show me where those holes need to go, and then I'll drill those holes out. Of course, I'll countersink on the top so it doesn't protrude. The pole here in the back, I have that lined up. The center of that, 8 inches, which it looks like it is right now. And it's lined up with the back of it. So what I need to do is make my markings underneath here. Right here, here, there, and there. Just aim in the center of those. And this is where the drill bit actually goes down through. I'm not going to worry about drilling that out. But this is where the bolts are going to come through. And then once I get those through, I'll countersink them maybe with a, I don't know, 1/4 inch. Well, these ones are 3/8 inch. So I use like a 3/8 inch Forstner bit, something like that, and drill it out so the heads of those get down in there. I got those in there. Like I said, those are the 3/8 inch bolts. Just bolted them in under here in these tracks. Tighten them down with the ratchet a little bit, not too tight. Of course, don't want to crack the wood. And then there's the fence put on it. So the fence, like I said, can slide back and forth. And then, like I said, these, you take these, you just tighten them down. You know, and once you tighten these down, you know, this fence isn't going to go anywhere. And if you want stop blocks or anything like that, you can put them on here and you can just clamp them on. Alright, so that was today's project. The next thing I'm going to do, you know, I'll probably make a sled for my table saw so I can get exact 90-degree cuts every time. Hopefully you got something out of this and learned from some of my mistakes. Like the track here kind of got off a little bit. The drill, the holes here, I'm not sure how I can exactly fix that because my drill press just isn't deep enough. It's not an industrial size. It's not a floor model. It doesn't have that much clearance behind it. Double check your work before you drill. I usually do, and it just kind of got away from me a little bit at times here. You can give me some suggestions if you have a better way of doing some things, or if something just works out really well for you. It seems like it might benefit me, so let me know. I'll put a link to Steve Ramsey's video down below where he goes over how he made his, which is basically the same process that I just did. He doesn't actually show it because his was already done, so he wasn't going to make another one. Thanks for watching the whole video. Leave comments below, suggestions, anything at all. Subscribe and watch the other videos and other projects that I'm going to do in the future.